How fan fiction gave millennials power over their spirituality. Religion news service. Master's voice I can heard sick loud and clear. I know when I do wrong. The way I see things is that we tend to limit ourselves, our beliefs sick, our understanding, our willingness due to what? Society? The above was written in the mid-2000s by a blogger who called herself Rose, who, along with a few close internet friends, was part of a tiny but culturally significant pack online Harry Potter fans of one exalted character in J.K. Rowling's wildly, Snape, the grumpy, anti-heroic potions teacher at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, may be an odd choice for religious veneration. And the Snape wives, the intense, emotionally wrought subcultures like Snape wives defined internet fandom in the late 1990s and early 2000s. They laid the ground. Unlike the generations that have come before us, we millennials grew up able to seek out our people without leaving our homes. As Buffy devotee, the proliferation of internet fan culture, with its emphasis on participation and creative repurposing of original texts, has created in millennials a broader sense of ownership over what we consume. There's a straight line from Snape wives, whose adoration inspired romantic narratives about Snape, to the 2015 novel Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality, a sprawling, serialized epic of fan fiction published online over 5 years. The novel, Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality, has remained among the most popular gateways of users to the rationalist movement, and Yudkowsky has attracted funding from other Silicon Valley denizens, such as PayPal founder and Trump supporter Peter Thiel for the bloggers, which attempts to counter the threat artificial intelligence may pose to humankind. Other features of fan communities have bubbled into popular consciousness as well. A 2014, it's easy to trace the 4chan-based alt-right of 2016 and the tech-savvy, reactionary hordes of mostly men seeking to battle perceived social justice warriors back to the online trolls and harassment threats of Gamergate. But to merely condemn the poisonous precincts of web culture is to miss the significance of the fan fiction dynamic, which now pervades the millennial mind, notably when it comes to religion. If the printing press heralded a unilateral form of consumption, somebody writes and prints a book. We passively read it. Sotheby's director of the Department of Printed Books and Manuscripts Dr. Philip Arrington holds a first edition copy of the first Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, containing annotations and illustrations by author J.K. Rowling. Amid the multiplicity of voices and new customized narratives, the original author Rowling or Tolkien or Joss Whedon lost their authority, so to speak. One of the most striking. While by no means did all millennials participate in fan culture, its ethos has come to shape our whole online existence. You can see it in this sense of consumer ownership has, in turn, influenced millennials' mix and match approach to spirituality more broadly. More and more of us, our personal experience of a text shaped through a dialogue with an intentionally chosen community is more important than the standard interpretation. Consider one of the most fascinating data points about the religious knowns. A full 17% of them say they believe in the God as described in the Judeo-Christian Bible, yet they don't identify with Judaism or Christianity. In a sense, they're the ultimate inheritors of the Snape wives' cultural legacy. They believe in the Burton, who received a doctorate in theology from Oxford University, is at work on a book about the rise of the religiously unaffiliated in America, to be published in November 2020 by Public Affairs. Her novel,
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.